Well, Luke, I'm glad you told the audience and me while I'm here. With you and Lucy on the roster to speak, I'm really here to listen and to learn. But since I've been put in front of you, I guess I have to say a little bit. But it will only be a little bit because I really want you to hear Amy and the powerful statistics that she has. And Luke really has laid out the history for you. So I'm just going to say a couple of real quick things and turn it over to Amy. And if there's some time for questions, then I may jump up and say something. And, it is important in terms of context to understand that there's nothing about what's going on now that's really new. And we've been standing on shoulders for decades and even centuries. I mentioned to Lucy's son-in-law, Justin, sitting at the table, that I was reflecting when coming here about what we're going to talk about. And then I reflected back to 1845. Anybody here ever heard of a man named Frederick Douglass? A leading voice for abolition in this country. Born a slave, taught himself how to be rose to any heights a black man could arise to in his time. Well, in the mid-1840s, Frederick Douglass was in Rochester, New York, where he made his home, Maryland, fighting to get his children into an all-white school. He was fighting to integrate the schools in Rochester, New York, in 1845. And here Luke is in, 2015? Talking to you about trying to integrate the schools in Charlotte. So we're all standing on Frederick Douglass's shoulders and others as well. But it also demonstrates how miserably intractable this whole issue of providing equal educational opportunities to children is. I mean, you would think now, 1845, at least a century and a half ago, we would have been able to figure something out and not have to argue about whether children are entitled to an equal education. They are. But right today in Charlotte, Luke said we're almost back to where we are. I'm going to tell you, I think we are back to where we are. I think we're in a worse position than where we were. For the simple reason that when Swan came along, you did have a basically clean slate to write on. Because not much had been done in the area of school segregation. So you could talk about the 14th Amendment. You could talk about the abject segregation that we had in the school system. You could call upon the court to address this problem. But today, when you raise the issue, first thing you're going to hear is, well, we've already been there. We've been there, done that. Charlotte's been declared unitary. And all the country schools have been declared unitary. The few that have not soon will be, or they'll continue what they're doing without that. So we are in a time when we have to call upon our innovative spirit, our faith, our belief, to try to get something done. It can be done. I mean, Frederick Douglass did what he did without a 14th Amendment. That was in 1845. The 14th Amendment came along after 1865. So it can be done. But in order for it to be done, there has to be will in the community to do it. And just think about it. How much have you heard about providing equal educational opportunity for students since Swan was dismantled in 1999? Not much. The community just sort of threw up its hands. So it can be done, but in order for it to be done, we have got to get the leaders in this community, the leaders of the faith community, the leaders of the political community, the leaders of the social community, the leaders of the civic community, and the business community, to recognize the value and to recognize the importance of providing to every child in this community the right and the opportunity for an equal education opportunity. And that's where you come in. That's where this church comes in. That's where the people in this community with a broader view come in. So yes, my optimism, Luke, is that it can be done, but it can only be done if every person in this community who believes in the principle of an equal education opportunity is willing to stand up and fight for it, and to understand that simply because a judge and a number of judges said it's all done, and when you look around you see it hasn't been done, then we got to speak out about it. We got to move people, and if we can get this will in this community, we can do it. And I want you to do one thing for me. I was in the 8th grade when Swan was decided. I was in an all-black school, secondary school in Asheville, North Carolina. And when Swan came down, I remember talking to my 8th grade teacher about how wonderful it was going to be that now all of us could get the same education. And I was waiting for the promised ground that year in 54, and it didn't come. I said, that's all right. My optimism said 55, it's coming. It didn't come. And on through 60, when I graduated from high school, I was waiting for the promise of ground. And I'm still waiting today. So we're going to do it, you're going to do it, and this optimism is just going to catch hold and take fire, and it's just going to blaze a path that Amy's going to tell us about right now.